Well, Paul, is vintage Kawhi back?
It certainly looks that way, Joy. I mean, I never thought, or I didn't think he can get back to the point where he's playing this type of basketball, especially after last summer. You know, he just all of a sudden left the Olympic team after he was there trying out in the summer with another knee issue. I didn't know that Kawhi would ever get back to this level because he's dealt with so many injuries, but just to see him out there doing the things that we know Kawhi is capable of doing because of his great talent when he's healthy, it's refreshing to watch because his game doesn't look like analytics. He plays like how I played, actually, and how we played in the early 2000s, where mid-range, three, attack the basket, just doing everything on the court. And just to watch a healthy Kawhi, you forget how great he was, you know, because we haven't had a good chance to see him in these type of playoff moments over the last couple of years, like he said. So is he back? It certainly seems that way. If you look back since March, he's averaging 26 points, 7 rebounds, 43 from three. This is the Kawhi that we're used to seeing. And if he can stay healthy for the whole playoffs with Harden, with the way this Clipper team look, it can shake things up in the West.
Yeah, if he's back, you know, he's been back for a minute as far as I'm concerned. Slowly, gradually putting things together since coming back off the injury. And Paul mentioned the Olympics last year and all the different injuries that he's had. Yeah, certainly you would think it's going to slow him down. He may not be able to get back to being the same. But if you go back and you look at his history, anytime he's been injured, when he's healthy, that's Kawhi. That's basically what it is. That's why he has the nickname, the Claw. That's why he can shoot 79% and go 15 or 19 from the floor. If he stays healthy, they're going to pop Denver to a whole nother level. They should be up 2-0 on Denver.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Denver was able to steal the one in overtime and get that one taken care of. But they're 13-1 down the stretch in 14 games to end the season with Kawhi playing. He's averaging 28 points. I mean, like, what more you want from him? And James Harden kicks in when he kicks in, and Zub keep doing what he's doing. Like I said before, it's hard for me to say because it's the Clippers, Rick.
I understand.
If they don't clip, they're going to be a tough out in the West.
Yeah. I don't think this is vintage Kawhi. I think he's better than that. I think he is the comfort level that I see him playing at, and the way he allowed the game, at least in this last game, he just kind of allowed it to come to him. It just looked so smooth and easy for him that that all that time sitting and watching, I feel, has actually kind of paid off, and that he's appreciating where he is, and he's taking advantage of all that he has seen. So, yeah, I'm just, and he actually has had, I was looking back, I was like, how many times has he come out and shot like 70%? He's shooting 70% through the first 2 games of the playoffs. He's actually done it before. That gives you an inkling of just how good he has been when he has been healthy. All that said, the last 2 times he was in the playoffs, and knock on wood, he lasted 2 games. Now, the way he looked in this last game, after playing 41 minutes in the first game, 39 in the second, I would expect that's not going to stop at this point. But that's the one thing that I just hope that we could get to continue to see this Kawhi Leonard at this point, because it was with the Olympics, and then it was at in the midst of the playoffs. Had a good game, and then suddenly he was out, and he wasn't coming back. So I know how hard he has had to work. The thing that I take the most satisfaction from is all the people that were suggesting that he didn't want to play or that he was just taking a paycheck. I know that what he was physically dealing with and how much he struggled with the inability to play. And the fact that he fought his way through to get back to this place, he deserves that recognition as opposed to the criticism or the suggestion that he didn't want to play. I think he's the type of guy who he wants to play. He's not in the NBA for the dividends and for the things that the life brings. Right. It's because he really likes the ball.
That's so crazy, though, when people say that athletes don't want to play at this level with this type of player, like this guy. You can pick certain guys and say, well, he's just here to get the logo. He wants the socks with the little logo on it. But that's not the case with Kawhi.
Well, it's not even Kawhi's personality.
No, and anybody that would suggest that ain't never ran up and down the court, clearly. Clearly.
Understood.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a vintage Kawhi performance. I think the availability question is fair.
Yeah, it is.
And the anxiety of, how long he can keep this up and how far they can go with him based off of what we've seen recently from his availability. But yeah, if he's available, this is what it looks like. That's why he's a one-namer. That's why we hold him in such high regard, despite the fact that the availability has been a question for as long as it has. He's brilliant, and he's an old-school player. He plays defense. He has a variety of different shots at his disposal that he is accurate with. He's very physical. He's an intelligent player. He just looks like he could play in any era.
Yes.
And he's incredibly effective, which is why he's the star that he is. When he's available, this is what it looks like.
He looks like the purest form of basketball.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to explain it. Like, when I watched him yesterday, he was always on balance. And he looked like a player that was all when I came away from game one, I was like, I put that game on Kawhi. Because if we say Kawhi is who we think he is when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league, right?
And he should go get it.
Exactly. So he came out in game two, was like, you know what? Don't worry. I'm putting this game on my back.
Yep.
I'm going to show y'all, like, we going to get game two. Because if they go down 2-0, the chances of winning a 7-game series slims down. So I saw a superstar say, rise to the occasion, and that's what you want to see. And it was beautiful to watch on both ends of the court.
What would you do to try to take him off of his game when because he looks like he can get, if he's so strong enough to get to his spots, and with his release and everything, like if you were playing against him, what are you doing to try to
You got to
rattle him?
get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, so you got to trap him early?
Yeah, you got to get the ball out of his hands because, like, scores like that, myself, like, when you got it going, there's nothing you can really do. You got to really devise a scheme to say, all right, we're going to force somebody else to beat us because the way he's moving and the way he's flowing right now, this can beat us.
And a few times they did blitz him, and a few times they trapped him, he got the ball out of his hands, and everybody else was able to hit their open shots. So that is, Paul is right. You got to figure out how to get the ball out of his hands because it's effortless, man, with this.
Effortless.
It's brilliant to watch. Over to the Eastern Conference, the Pistons also tied up their series with a game apiece. 194 win over the Knicks. Jalen Brunson had a game-high 37 points for New York, but it wasn't enough because Cade Cunningham had 33 and Dennis Schroeder had 20 coming off of the bench for Detroit. I like how even these games are.
Man, everybody's losing at home, huh?
It's very interesting.
Y'all didn't lose, huh?
No, we haven't played our second game yet, but these series have been just incredible. Everybody lost game 2 or lost game 1 to even the series. There's no home court advantage. But I really like this Detroit team. I'm telling you, I picked them before in this series. I truly believe that they have depth, they have great coaching, and they have a great blend of veteran players to go with their young superstar. And if you look around the league, that seems like the trend. What you see in some of these winning teams, these young up-and-coming teams, they added, like the Rockets added some veterans, and they were the number 2 team. You see what's going on in OKC with adding a couple of veteran pieces over there. I'm not so sure that New York makes it out of the first round.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some tough conversations that we have had this offseason if they don't amongst players and the coaching staff.
Rick, what was the biggest reason for the Knicks' loss, though?
Cade Cunningham. This is why he was on my first-team All-NBA ballot.
First team?
First-team All-NBA ballot. Because if I look at how this team is composed and what he has done for them, I think, I don't know if Jalen Brunson has been first-team All-NBA, but, he is for the Pistons what Jalen Brunson is, and actually a little bit better, a little bit bigger, a little more versatile. But you would never know that this is the first time that he's been in the playoffs. The maturity of his game and the way he carries himself and the way he leads this team. I had a chance to spend some time around the Pistons earlier this season. And you can when you're around a team, you can kind of get the vibe of them. And I think they were scuffling along early on in the season. But I just knew that this team was going to go somewhere and it was going to be a playoff team because of the way they were around each other. To Paul's point, the blend of the veterans and the young players, and then the way everybody revolved around Cade. You could just feel the respect that they had and the confidence that they had in that he was going to be able to take them somewhere. So I think the Knicks are what they are, and I think Cade has made Detroit better than they are.
And Rick is right. The 33 points that he dropped on their head is certainly one of the main reasons that Detroit was able to get out of New York with a victory. But then you look at the other side of things for New York. Cat had 10 points in the first half and 0 in the second half.
Yes.
We traded to get an upgrade, but it felt like we just got a downgrade significantly with Cat. And I always ask guys like Paul that play, like, what is it about him that people felt like, okay, he was the missing piece for the Knicks that you made this trade, even though you got Mikal Bridges that's there. Mikal Bridges can't be your second leading scorer behind Brunson. It should be Cat. So I blame a little bit on Cade and a lot of it on Cat, that this is the reason that they go home with the L.
Yeah, this is the trade. This is why they made the trade, to get an all-star player, a player that Tibbs was comfortable with, that played with him in Minnesota. You know, and in my eyes, I felt like Minnesota won this trade because I feel like they traded some of their heart and soul they had. They don't seem like the same gritty team they were a year ago that I saw in the playoffs. I think they lost some of that. But you bring Cat over, another all-star.
You don't feel like New York is?
I don't feel like New York. I don't feel like New York is that gritty team that I saw last year in the playoffs that fought tooth and nail.
Because you get rid of DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo, yep.
Then
and Julius Randle.
Julius was up and down.
He didn't play
But still, is a tough. If you're talking about toughness,
Yeah, but you got that.
Randle and DiVincenzo are at the top of the list with that team.
Absolutely.
Right, and so that's the characteristics of the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau, and I don't see that in this team. And so Cat has to step up. He has to bring his hard hat. There's no excuse for a player of his caliber, averaging 24, 25 a game, to have 0 points. You could get fouled, get to the line, and it's the playoffs. You have to have a sense of urgency. So I put a lot of this.
Last year, he wasn't that strong in the playoffs either, though, last
He
year.
put together some performance, but he tends to trip to the outside when he has a clear advantage on the inside to take advantage of the bigs. And so I put this on him.
Yep.
And I think he'll step up next game because they're going to need him to, or they're going to go home to a Detroit team that looks like they're hungry and well-coached and ready to take the next step.
The other piece we can't forget is that they let Isaiah Hartenstein go.
Hartenstein, that's the other piece, the toughness.
That's 3 physical guys that you let go. And they got Cat. They got Cat because they needed a scorer to go along with Jalen. They needed another guy, and they thought he could be a stretch 4 and play off of it.
But you had that. Julius Randle was that. You didn't even give him a chance to see what that was going to look like this year because he was hurt last year. You're supposed to come back with that team and see what it looked like healthy, and they just pressed the button a little too fast, and I don't know if it's going to pay off.
Yeah, their offense was certainly off yesterday, but you can't bring Cat in and have him want to be the scorer and have 10 points and none in the second half. You've got to try and get to the basket or make something happen. Can't go out like that. Well, looking at tonight's games, the Lakers have a massive game tonight. After dropping one at home to the Timberwolves, they said, Key said yesterday he's not worried. Not worried after the Lakers lost game 1, but Lakers forward Dorian Finney-Smith said tonight is a must-win for the purple and gold. Key, are you still not worried, or is tonight a must-win?
It's a must-win because we can't afford to come back home 3-1. Because that's probably what's going to happen. We're not going to get swept, right? So if we drop this one tonight, we go there, we win 1, they win 1, we come back 3-1. At that point, it's really probably over with, unless you're playing against Doc's teams that are used to giving.
Hey, don't throw those shots at my former coach. Hey, leave Doc out of this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait, no. When we get to 3-1s, we can take shots.
No, but you know what I'm saying. And look, he's right about that. It's a must-win, and they've got to come together as a team.
Whoa. What did you say?
I said he's right.
No. What was that? What was that pronoun?
They?
We.
Okay.
We went from they to we
because I'm talking about.
We went from we to they.
We to they. You right. I did hear that.
No, that's not. See,
that's tough.
Here we go. Y'all acting like social media people.
They.
Now. Okay,
they
so
need
we
to fix their problems so that we can win.
So then we need to figure out how to play perimeter defense and not allow 21 threes to get drained on us. That's what we need to do.
I don't know.
But tonight's going to be different. We win tonight, though. We win tonight.
Must win for the Lakers.
This is a must win. This is, like he said, this series is over. They lose this because there's no way with the energy that Minnesota's going to have and the confidence that you're going to give them going back home to possibly close it out. I mean, I've been on teams where we won the first 2 games on the road, and I'm yelling, oh, no, we're not coming back to L.A., or we're not coming back to we don't want to even give them that confidence. And so this is a must-win, but I think the Lakers are going to play with some urgency. I think this is going to be on LeBron, though, tonight. I think he's going to have to do a better job at attacking the rim, enforcing his will amongst the young Timberwolves, and somehow getting the win. I think the Lakers will win.
I do remember that Paul Pierce. Because you wouldn't just say it. He'd say it like in the post game.
I'm gonna yell it. I'm gonna talk about it.
We ain't coming back here.
No, we gonna. I'm gonna say it everywhere.
No, it's not a must-win, and it's not because of the Lakers. It's because of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Well, and partly the Lakers, but primarily the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves won 2 games in Denver last year, in the second round, right? And then they went home and they dropped 2. And then that series went 7. Now, they got out of it, but if this series goes 7 and comes back to L.A. for a 7th game, then I'm not sure that Minnesota is going to win it if it goes that far.
You know, you mentioned something about Denver and them going up 2-0, but I also want to mention the growth now. This is a year or whatever, a year removed, a season removed from that a year ago. So you're going to grow and know, if we go up 2-0, we cannot allow what happened against Denver to happen against the Lakers.
And I hope that that's the case, and I would hope that
What you mean you hope that's the case?
I hope that would be the case for the Minnesota Timberwolves, because I like to see growth. I like to see people realize their potential.
Let me look at my phone real quick, 'cause I know
you know what's on your
He's
phone
not
by
on
now.
me. He said
It came in, it was buzzing as soon as I started talking.
Yeah, they can't go down 0-2 at home. Not that I don't think that they could come back from it, but also if they're planning on making a run, even if they were to come back from it, the effort that it would take, the rest of your postseason is cooked.
Okay, but you just said you think they could come back from it.
Yeah, I think they could.
Then it's not a must-win, in my mind.
I think it's a must-win if your aspirations are to go to a championship and to the finals.
But they could still win the series if they lost this next game? The Lakers could.
That's because I still need to see what the.
No, I don't think they can win the series if they lose this next game at 0-2. They don't think it. This is a guy.
They can't win.
Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy on the team, in the locker room, looking at the players, listening to the coach.
We got to get tonight.
You got to get tonight, because you go, like Paul said, you're going to Minnesota. The crowd, the people, they're going to be going crazy. Erica's probably there going nuts, the whole thing. Now you look up, and let's say you do win game 3 and you lose game 4. You still coming home 3-1.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
And another thing, look at this. If they stretch this series out to, say, 6 or 7 games, the Lakers, the way OKC is projecting out.
Getting done early?
Getting done early.
Yeah, they for sure going to get done early.
Yeah. But the Lakers won't see them, will they? They won't see them. 2, 3. They'll see the 2, 3. They'll see the Warriors.
Yeah, they're going to see the other side of the bracket.
If the Warriors project out.
The Warriors might get it done early, too.
If they get their series done early, you want some time to prepare for the Warriors.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to, if you have the effort that you'd have to put in to climb out of that hole, you're cooking yourself for the rest of the postseason also. So.
Well, I think we're already looking. I mean, from the Lakers' standpoint, if they're going to win this series, I'm thinking it's at least 6 games.
So teams
if they're going to win the series.
So teams with a 2-0 lead overall is 9-20, 3-23, and 28 with 2-0 leads.
Yeah, that's not that. 23 and 28. I would have thought it was
no,
far more lopsided.
3-23 and 28.
Oh.
But another thing is you put teams that lose their first 2 games at home. That's another record. Going down 2-0.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've all decided it's sort of a must-win. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.